And there we are.
There we are.
Hello, happy Valentine's Day, and welcome. We are unmuted this time, so that is good. They should be able to hear us.
This may or may not be like shipping taped up to our wall just so you guys can see the Valentine decor for today.
If it just falls behind,
there's a strong chance.
You've been warned.
Strong chance.
Okay, where are we starting with this? Congratulations on your second week done and down.
Oh, crazy, right?
2 down, 6 to go. What do you want to jump into? You want to talk about a little about the email, or should I get into Atomic Habits to kick us off?
We'll talk about this morning, then you'll go habits.
Okay.
Then we'll bring it back.
Okay.
Bring it back. Bring it back. Remember that song?
No, we're going here. Go ahead. Talk about this morning. What happened? What went down? Give us the business.
It's so nice to have people together. Like, it's just like, I feel like usually as coaches, we're kind of like trying to get the workout going or whatever it is. And like, so there's like the challenge, obviously, but then there's like the workout on Sundays, which are just like fun to gather. And everyone was just like ready to just like be around people. And it's just like a really nice change because COVID. So we did, people just alternated between some interval stuff and then some box step up stuff. And you and I were like there last night, setting up the boxes and just like going through like worst case scenarios of getting the ones that were like hollow on the bottom so that they didn't like rock on the pavement. And it's like kind of all that stuff is just like, it's people just like want to be moving and want to be around each other and have fun. So it was nice. It was good. And then it got really, really freezing during mobility and all after that. So
yeah,
it was nice in the sun when we were there.
It got colder.
It got so cold.
Okay, so let's jump right into it. Recap of this morning. What else do you got for us? Do you want to go into some?
Just jumped into it. We're in. We're jumped. I have jumped. I'm in.
I know, but it's re-explaining back what they've already done. You know what I mean?
Right. So then you just told me to re-explain what I just explained.
So there you guys' comments or questions below. And
we were getting along fine until this little green light came on right here.
We will be answering those later.
Some people have, we played the game too, which Matt was laughing last night because all the games I've ever had in my head of like little challenges and little like points and stuff in the beginning, just for funsies. All of them are not legal anymore with COVID. They're just every single thing I do is very close to another human, apparently. And I was coming up with them last night, and I just have to say that the eliminators, usually I want to give Brad Roots a lot of crap. And if I have a public forum to give
the comments.
Brad crap on, I will usually just jump right into that. Brad really used his brain today because his socks weren't going to travel as far as he needed them to throw them into the bullseye. And when I picked up his team's pair of socks, there was a giant rock in the socks. And I never said it wasn't legal, so I couldn't like disqualify it. But if someone like is really going for competition and really wants to win that bad, like I respect that. So there you go, Brad.
Cheater?
I don't think so. That's not cheating. I respect the competition. So You get that.
All right. Well.
And then for all the rest of those workouts, like there was some stuff last week about that was last week's workout was the one that we're going to redo. So then the rest, that was like why we wanted to get your score for that one if you weren't there. But the rest of the Sundays are just fun to be together. They're just like sweat aerobic sessions. So like No big deal if you didn't make it. No need to make anything up for those. That's important to say.
Yeah, you only lost out on an opportunity to have some good time and some good cardio. It's on you.
Yeah. Where were you for good time and good cardio?
I'm not on team, so I'm not doing it. Okay. All right. So what do we got going on for the rest of it here?
I don't know. Jump right in. Why don't you?
Well, you just like recap it. I don't even know. Half the people don't even know about this,
Okay. Whatever you need to do. Whatever you need to do during this. Speak now or forever.
No, just
speak now.
I feel like we're not really doing anything. Is that what you want to do next?
Yes. It's literally like the outline plan. So I don't know what, just please go. They don't like, this was supposed to be a joke that we were going to fight this much. Like, please just go. I
didn't even know we were fighting. I just thought you were like stalling for time.
No, we're fighting.
Okay, well, say the rest of what you were going to say.
That was it. I would love for you to speak about atomic habits.
Okay, so I guess I'll do my part about the atomic habits here.
I guess so.
So we'll be going into the week 2 part of it. So if you guys have been reading along, I haven't jumped that far in front of it, but hopefully you guys have made it to at least the 2nd chapter of talking about trying to or why we have the habits that we have. Early on, we talked about noticing kind of why you're going for snacking or why you were craving some sort of a sugary food. And a lot of times it's because there's some sort of underlying stress, anxiety, or desire that goes along with that. And what it is about is kind of noticing what is happening while you're craving, while you're going for something sugary, and then trying to figure out what exactly is you're trying to solve there. Because chances are you're stressed, chances are you're anxious about something, or there's something underlying happening there.
Wait, was that last week's or this week's?
No, it's a combination of the two.
Oh, okay.
But we had talked about awareness, and all as I was saying was from before that
be aware if you're a late person.
Well, no,
late bird.
Well, then the question would be like, what's the well, no, that's like not a bad that's a bad habit. That's not in the context of this. Like
bad habit.
What's that?
Carry on.
Being late is a bad habit.
Carry on. If you're going to get kicked out of this show so quick,
if I get kicked out, you would just be here solo? Would you be able to manage?
Oh my God. Just because I can't speak with the camera on.
Okay. So, but in the terms of like food in the context of trying to change their what?
Seriously?
If you guys are
just like
in the comments, throw something down if there's somebody out there. I don't know.
Don't throw anything down.
Represent your team. Put your team color in there. We're posted up.
Matt knows so much about the teams. So
Matt knows a lot about the teams.
Matt knows everything. Matt knows everything in the whole world.
I am the teams. So anyhow, noticing what is happening while you're craving those things. So one of the things, the example that they wrote in the book is like nobody really gets anything out of smoking cigarettes, right? It's not like a thing that you need to survive in life. But a lot of the times that people, when they start picking up smoking, it's either in a social setting. So they're trying to fit in. They're trying to either, get around others or for whatever reason, look cool. Or they're trying to solve some sort of stress or anxiety. And that's why that habit starts to form. And then pretty soon it's ingrained in you and you become a smoker rather than just a casual smoker. Hey, we have some people on the other end here. So Lynette, let's go purple team. Whoa.
Matt wants to be on the blue. Matt
Pinkies up or
you don't want Matt on the blue bombers. It would ruin the blue bombers.
Who said blue bombers? Oh. Matt wants to be on the blue bombers. It's clear.
Matt's on the clear team. And Matt's on the brown team.
Funds of Steel. Nice. Representing. Okay, there we go. How much caffeine can we have in a day? That's
limit
probably a question.
Exist.
And then Tidy Whities.
The limit absolutely
representing
exists.
Several different teams. Oh, Lindsay. Okay, that's what's happening here. I'm like, were you put on 2 teams?
Are you safe?
So for most of us, when we go into snacking, if you guys have anything specific, you can put in the comments. But I'm guessing there's a couple of things. Number one, it's some sort of satisfying a stress or an anxiety.
So realizing probably the time when you do it.
Yes, understanding the timing of it, because usually it's the same time throughout the day too. So whether you're tired, you're bored,
whether it's after dinner, whether you're bored, whether it's like
some
that
sort of stress,
mid after lunch situation and you're working at your job.
Yeah, some sort of anxiety. You're trying to, whatever. I'm trying to switch the things out. Sorry. Oh, I'm pressing so many buttons. But understanding what's going on there, paying attention to it, and then figuring out why it is that you are doing that is important. So I had more to it, but you stopped me halfway through. Then I got distracted with this. And
I feel like you stopped yourself by touching those buttons.
Probably true. Maybe
my fault for sure.
Maybe we should figure out the underlying problem, which is ADD.
figured it out.
That's the problem. And now we have it. There's multiple buttons moving over here.
Okay.
The show is on my back. What?
But
So do you want to talk more about it?
No, yeah, something about that though, like for real, is the behavioral kind of changes that happen when you're doing the challenge. So it's in the email, but it's kind of like a breakdown of the weeks of how people kind of like assess throughout the weeks. And we'll just go through weeks 1 and 2 and 3. That being 1 is like the best. Everything's great. I don't care.
Honeymoon phase.
I can eat this boring chicken for the rest of my life and I'm totally fine. I could do this. I don't care. Second week is like, I can still eat this chicken. It's still great. It's fine. I want to like spice up the chicken, but I could seriously do this for the rest of my life still. And then the third week, which is like what we're entering, is when all of that just kind of like takes a dump. Like we're not very close. I feel like it's kind of like the second to third round in like a 5-round workout. Like your heart rate's getting up. You're just like uncomfortable. You're fine still, but you're just like, I have so long to go. I'm not even halfway yet. So like we're kind of in that dump, which is kind of the same kind of behavioral habits that you might notice in terms of like what we're talking about with habits. So you're just kind of like and going through the day, and like the excitement of the beginning of the challenge is over. So possibly asking yourself, like you are, when you're reaching for something, or I had been talking to people this morning about how I just don't really have like a sweet tooth. I'm not really that kind of person, but since we've been following challenge stuff, sometimes like at night, like around like 8:30 or 9, I'm like, ooh, I want something sweet. And I'm going to say that someone else eats more sweet things usually than I do.
It's me. She's talking about me.
I'm talking about him. But you haven't
I like some desserts that I know I haven't since the challenge started.
But I realized
weight. Not trying to.
Well, don't. Okay.
4 pounds.
Okay.
Not good, guys. Gotta get my protein up.
Right. But realizing that you pick up, like I picked up some of your then just like things are around the house, and it's also one of those like realizing you're trying to not have it. So those habits become like a little bit just more upfront. But if you guys are having that trouble and you're noticing something like snacking outside of it and you're craving foods that are outside of kind of like what we're trying to follow with the challenge, even like writing down in a journal or on your food log, kind of like the one feeling, if you were going to sum it up, what's the one feeling you're feeling when you want to have something that isn't challenge friendly? Because the challenge rules are not wild. Like we're literally just cutting out kind of like extra unnecessary stuff. But you can have as much to eat for dinner and all of those things as you want to. So really when you're craving something, like what's actually happening? Like you're saying, like, are you tired? Are you bored? Are you whatever it is? But kind of like being in touch with the feeling you're feeling at the same time can really help you kind of realize what's actually going on.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just about noticing it and then noticing the timing of it, then noticing the underlying feeling of it. So then that way you could really try to solve what's going on there, that goes into a lot of, behavioral change stuff, because normally it's nothing out of necessity. It's because we have some sort of underlying feeling. So by understanding what that is, you'll be able to correct it.
Mm-hmm. And I'd say like generally, if I'm going to put in general terms, mid-afternoon, like that 2:30 to 3:30 kind of time, people would say tired. And they're going to reach for something that's like higher carb, higher sugar, because they want to pick me up. Maybe Matt needs that right now. And then I'd say after dinner, in general terms, they're tired in the afternoon and they're bored after dinner. And it's kind of like this big letdown from the day and this whole list of stuff we had to get done in our head. And now that it's done, we want to relax and we want like kind of a reward. And as we can go in later about sugar, we will, the dopamine kind of that we get from all that sugar is kind of the reward that our brain gets of like happiness. So those are the two that I'd say are like the most common, but you might realize there's other habits that you have. And it's good to just know them for yourself.
Yeah. Speaking of habits, timing. Want to get the nutrient timing piece of it?
No, almost.
Okay.
Speaking of habits, timing.
I don't know. I don't really know what we're doing.
I told Matt that he had to do jumping jacks before he came on here tonight because I don't think that he's awake. So if you guys want to throw in the comments to wake Matt up, go ahead and do that.
It's that they're not awake. I'm just not really sure what the next piece of it is.
No, it's that he's not awake. We didn't do that. But the week 2 summary coming up with remember you made those little things for it?
That's where you wanted to go.
Pieces.
I don't have week 2 summary though. I have spirit wieners. I have team winners.
You have what?
Spirit wieners. Spirit winners at
Put on
email.
put on the
Boom.
spirit wieners. So the first spirit wiener is the individual spirit wiener. And this is one person in the challenge. And each week they will be winning a free dinner from
Trifecta.
It'd be funny if you like clicked a commercial, but Trifecta.
We don't have commercials. I think their marketing's kind of bad too.
Okay, so
I do. It's always like Brooke Ents and like Bradley Martin, and they're almost like unachievable body types. Like, why would you always promote with them?
Well, their food's good.
Their food's great. I've sold a heck of meals.
Anyways, so we've been getting kind of like their meal prep. So it gets 4 servings of, we put it on our Instagram when Ariana won last week, but it's 4 servings of some kind of protein, and then it's
a veggie and a carb.
A veggie and a carb. Yeah.
And who is it this week?
This week, it's Susie Madrid from the Blue Bombers.
Boom, and we have our comment there.
Boom,
Congratulations,
Susie. So, and this you'll see in the email, she gets 10 points for her team. That's a lot. Which is also, you guys might know her as Coach Susie. So you see Coach Susie, she is like constantly positive and peaceful all the time. She just must think I'm just insane, but she has been nothing but positive to her team this whole time. Last week, poor thing was by herself because her team members have work, all kinds of like other things. Actually, all of them, can't be there because of work on Sunday. So Susie was by herself last week, and the amount of positivity she had towards her team all week, like she just kept going. Like she was checking in with them saying, if you guys need someone to work out with, have you guys done your challenges? What about your humble brag? She made their shirts. She's just like the best teammate to have. And she just absolutely deserves to win the Spirit Award. So that's for you, Suze.
Fantastic. Susie, congratulations. Let us know. Do we give options or do you just pick out the meal in hand?
We pick it out for them.
All right, Susie, we'll be picking out your next dinner.
What she likes. So
and,
we'll do that.
Yeah, and we'll be hooking you up with that tomorrow. Do you bring it in tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll bring it in for you tomorrow. It'll be inside the fridge at the gym.
Free dinner for Susie and Johnny.
Cool. So congratulations on that. Nicola here said not awake sled drag because Savannah was talking about like the injury she had with her foot. And she was asking, hey, how should I work around this? I'm going to do some stuff with the bike, maybe some upper body stuff. And I said, why don't you load up the sled and drag it for a mile?
Would that wake you up? Is that what you mean?
He was, because I said that was the answer to everything. Like, who would answer, I have a sprained foot, what should I do? Drag a sled for a mile.
Nobody. I'd see nothing better that you should do for your ankle
what it is.
In the world. That's
Susie.
Suze, of course. So the Team Spirit Award this week goes to
Boom.
The Buns of Steel.
Oh, I thought you were looking over there. Teleprompter stopped working.
Teleprompter is in my mind.
Buns
the Buns of Steel.
Boom, boom, boom.
They're the gray team. They've named themselves Hilarious. I nicknamed them Buns when I was talking about it in the email.
I think we have.
But there it is. Megan's on the team. Yeah. So they just have a mix of like old and new veterans and people that are new to the challenge and whatnot. And they just kind of constantly like stay in touch with each other. And there's no one person on the team where you're like, oh, they're dropping the ball. Like everyone's involved and everyone really supports each other. They had kind of a week with someone had a little issue with work, as these weird COVID times. One happens to be your mother, is traveling, and nothing has stopped them. So congratulations, Buns of Steel. You guys get 5 points for your team.
Buns of Steel, 5 points. You guys earned it.
That's hilarious. Was it back to you for anything else?
I got nothing. I got no energy. I got nothing tonight. I got nothing.
But you guys, I do have to say that Matt did remember Valentine's Day, so he does get credit for that.
Yes.
I got flowers today.
And
for the first time.
Not yet. Don't end the broadcast.
We'll just say long time. He remembered it was Valentine's Day. It was very nice. It was very nice.
Rude all the time.
You're not rude all the time. I'm just saying, like, sometimes people don't remember these random weird Hallmark holidays. So, good job, Spirit winner.
Thank you. And thank you, Megan. We love you too.
Oh, adorable. But then this week, the next thing we were talking about.
You got to slam. Wait, I don't know. Maybe because I got the new mic set up, maybe it wasn't as bad. Okay.
What are we talking about?
Nutrient timing. There was a lot of questions about it last week, and we held off from it. I'll check to see if anybody put anything in the Instagram thingy. I don't think so. But we'll check on there. Then if you guys have your questions about nutrient timing, what should I eat? When should I eat it? After workout, before I go to bed. I'm on keto, but not really. I'm fasting, but I don't know what that means. put in the comment section right now and we will answer your questions. And then Grace will break down some nutrient timing. I got it out.
All those things you said were just like spot on too. So nutrient timing has to
That
do,
was it.
I guess we have
That
to
was all my energy.
first talk about, when we're saying nutrients, we're talking about the 3 macronutrients. So the 3 nutrients that you need in a large amount. Those will be, what are they?
Protein, carbs, and fat.
There you go.
And water.
That also water, yeah.
Not coffee. That doesn't count. Tea does.
I'm super proud of you.
I know. You
Good
think
job.
I don't know, but I know. I know. Go ahead. Carry on.
So when we're talking about nutrients in general, the first thing to remember, and everyone that I talk to about nutrition already knows this, it's been like put into their head too many times. If we were talking about a pyramid, we could like post this pyramid up there. I didn't give it to you, but we were talking about the Illuminati.
The Rock.
You can do that.
I can do whatever I want.
The base of the pyramid always comes with energy. So that's the amount of calories you're consuming versus the amount of calories that you're burning. So calories in, calories out. Absolutely nothing you can do can trump this. So that's just super important to remember because we kind of keep going back to it. So all the things that we're talking about go off of the fact that you're already in a good caloric intake for your body. So we're talking about if you're trying to gain more weight, you're eating more than your body needs. And if you're trying to lose weight, you're eating a little bit less or kind of right around what your body needs, and having enough energy to exercise. But if we're off on our intake in terms of total calories, the whole thing is shifted, is off. So that's just like important to remember. The second tier then of that pyramid would be the amount of each of the macronutrients that we're getting. So the amount of protein we're getting in every day, which is like a thing I harp on people for a lot in the challenge because I feel like that's the main missed one. The amount of fat, the amount of carbohydrates that we're taking. All of that, again, has to matter first. So the whole like anabolic window or those things, if we're getting in the correct amounts of those nutrients, everything else is less important, but just kind of like cherry on top of that. And like the only way to kind of like improve that, if you're already doing that really well, would be nutrient timing. So we can't just because we drink protein after a workout be like, I'm cool for the rest of the day, haven't had breakfast, didn't eat dinner, but I should be good. My muscles should grow. Very incorrect. So just kind of like remember to stack those on top of each other in terms of importance. So
wait, can you do another recap? So the bottom of the pyramid was making sure you're getting enough calories and enough food. The second part of it was making sure the macronutrient piece of it is correct. Your correct protein, carbs, and fat. And then the third piece of it is the timing. When do you eat those? And I think before, I'm going to let you go on just 1 second, but another thing to relate it back to the book, for those of you guys that are reading the book or listening to the book, James Clear talks about doing just small bits at a time rather than massive changes, because we're not going to uphold those massive changes. So especially as you guys are entering week 3, as it's beginning a little bit tougher and getting a little bit real, that first week of excited meal prep has now turned into shit. We got to go shopping, unless you go trifecta, in which case it comes to your door. So think about making small positive changes. Yeah. Okay. Back to the third piece of the pyramid, timing of the nutrients with the professional Grace.
I hear often, what do I want to eat pre and post workout? So again, these do not harm you in any way.
I'm checking the question thing.
Oh, I was like, these don't harm you in any kind of way if you're not like
I'm just kidding.
super elite athlete. They can only benefit you. Are they like make or break moments if you're not like super into fitness? Like, no, but they're, again, only going to benefit you. So after your workout, and again, we said that like anabolic window, which is like a huge constant argument in terms of nutrition. But point being, like between right immediately when your workout stops, and we're saying like 2 hours after. So like that's like the latest we're talking about. But like there's like a 30-minute, like it doesn't matter. We're talking like generally after your workout. What's really important to get in is protein. Now, this is especially important after like any kind of resistance training. So after any of our strength days. So I think it's tomorrow with front squats, and they're heavy front squats.
Yes.
And you're putting on a big load on your body. That's important after that. It's not as important after like a Thursday cardio workout or like Sunday's like kind of aerobic workout. But it does, again, it doesn't benefit you or it doesn't harm you. And some people still see benefit in it after aerobic stuff. So that just kind of being said, taking in protein, like I said, right after the workout, and usually A very easy way to get that in would be whey protein because it's really quickly digested and it's already in liquid form. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes after I finish a workout and I'm sitting there, like the last thing I can do is think about eating some food, like especially after you do CrossFit, but like drinking something down that like kind of tastes fine is not that hard. So it kind of like benefits you in both ways and it absorbs really quickly too. Now, that being said, if you have some carbohydrates with that protein after your strength workout, that will help. So your carbohydrates help to decrease your cortisol, which is one of those hormones that kind of promotes the breakdown of protein. And it also helps to increase your insulin. So that helps your body kind of like absorb all that stuff into your cells and make it work faster. So
what are examples of carbohydrates?
Protein and carbs after a workout. If you had a protein shake in like half of a banana, fantastic. You can do if you are able to kind of blend things. Some protein powders already come with carbohydrates in them too. So that would be like a fantastic thing. Or any kind of fruit, any kind of like rice, potatoes, those are faster to get into your
depending on your hunger level after a workout.
Yeah, but if we're talking like right after, things in liquid form are the best, and then fruits are usually easy just because they don't feel as dense.
You know what also you guys could utilize for some of you that like to be a little fancy and maybe have access to it? You could actually blend up a protein kind of shake as you head to the gym, throw it in the refrigerator at CFL, then drink it right afterwards. So you could drop a little chocolate protein with some banana in there.
Yeah, you could
blend it up and have it to go afterwards.
You could blend up chocolate protein and like a little bit of oatmeal that was dried. Like you got options there. You could also eat the banana on the side. Like you got, again, options. That's not a big deal. Before the workout, that's the other like main one I would think that comes like in question to us. That none of that made sense before the workout.
Most common question is, what do I eat before a workout? And how long before my workout should I eat?
So around your workout.
That's why they pay me the big bucks, guys.
We don't want fat. We've heard carbs, we've heard protein. Those are great. We do not want fat. Fat is if you're even thinking about it, like it takes like longer to digest. Like think about it how like peanut butter is. Like it's like slow.
Ugh, it hurts my stomach right now.
No, it doesn't. You like peanut butter. It's slow. Fat just kind of takes a long, which is why it's great because it takes a long time to break down. But that being said, that will take a long time to break down. And when we're just talking about how we want that protein, some of those carbs to get into our muscles as quick as they can, if we have something in there that's slowing down the process, that's not going to get us there very fast. So if we avoid having fat before and after a workout, that's how we're going to see our best results.
How long before?
That's such a great question. So they had like a little breakdown of if you were to work out in the morning, at lunch, at like the 3:30, 4:30, or after that, because those things are different. So if we're talking about pre-workout, like morning, and you're like a 5:30 a.m., see you never. But sometimes if you're waking up and just going to the 5:30 a.m., maybe having a little bit of something.
Right prior to the workout?
If you're someone that needs something prior to a workout, like even like just like half a banana would be okay. There is an entire thing that we'll go into again later. Like, this doesn't mean to keep being a spinoff, like for part 2, but fasted working out or the fasted state is also a great place. So on the 5:30 a.m., if you didn't have like a little bit of banana, like nothing at all, that's also pretty great for you. You can just have something right after and you're fine. If you're like kind of a lunchtime worker-outer, if you have breakfast really early, you might want to then have something as a snack. So again, like some fruit, some like egg whites, something like that, that would be beneficial. And I'm talking at least 1 or 2 hours before your workout.
I'm sorry, I don't know this. Is granola part of the thing that you're allowed to have or not?
Most of the like the store-bought granolas are made with a lot of sugar, but if you made them yourself, like if you roasted it in the oven, then absolutely yes.
Okay.
And then I'd say if you were at like the 3:30, 4:30, you've most likely gotten in a good lunch. So you're probably okay, but like a little pick me up again, like some fruit is good. Now, if you're like the 5:30 or 6:30 p.m. and you haven't eaten since lunch, having something like 1 to 2 hours before, again, will help you. So it's kind of, one of those. However, after all of those workouts, having some kind of protein right after is only going to help you. So either you go right home and you have your meal before you kind of get showered and ready and go off to work, or you drink something on the way home, or you kind of have a snack that kind of helps you on the way. Those are those.
Those are those.
We want to have higher rates of carbs before the workout. So that's what we were saying. Like fruit is like just a really easy way for everyone, or like some toast or whatnot. And we want to have higher rates of protein after the workout. So like having a protein shake, don't have that right before if you can save it and have it right after. And then that was, fasted cardio, but we'll go into that. Like that's like a whole other thing. The other thing though that comes up is vitamins. So if you're a morning worker outer or an evening worker outer and you have dinner or breakfast, like kind of those things like around, I guess even people take vitamins at lunch. That just sounds so strange to me, but you can. You want to avoid vitamins if you can, just like a general rule of thumb. It will do absolutely like no harm to your body. It's just the vitamins are going through a lot of different processes, and sometimes
Moving on.
Sometimes those aren't directly benefiting you in terms of performance. Sometimes they might. It just depends completely on like what it is. But if you can give your body time to absorb the vitamins outside of workout time, also some of those are usually you want to take fat with them. So I would take them around a meal that's just like on the opposite time. If you work out in the morning, take your vitamins with your dinner. If you work out at dinner, take your vitamins with breakfast. It's just like a good rule of thumb for that. Now, when we're talking about what should I have, like nutrient timing, not just performance wise, but like breakfast and dinner. Breakfast, if you have a high fat and a high protein breakfast, no one has problems with this in terms of like health and moving forward. If you have a full carb, high carb breakfast, this is not necessarily the best plan. So like there was a lot of food log notes about that.
But didn't the USDA put out like the food pyramid that had all the wheat
USDA is a nightmare sometimes.
And refined processed carbohydrates as the base of the pyramid?
Yeah.
So you mean that's not right?
No.
You mean it's responsible for the majority of the deaths in America?
Okay, well that's a bold statement, but yeah. But if we have just high carbohydrates, so some people, like a lot of people, it's like coffee and like a banana, coffee and milk and a banana. We are just, and like the coffee is not the problem. I'm just saying like it's a breakfast part. But if we're having just fruit, or some people are eating like multiple pieces of fruit because they're trying to be healthy, but they like need a little bit more than like just a banana or whatnot, you're basically taking your blood sugar up, and then your blood sugar is going to crash after that. So anytime you're having any sort of carbohydrate, so that's like at breakfast, it's like oatmeal, toast, any kind of fruit, add in some fat or some protein with that. Add in some eggs, egg whites, hard-boiled eggs. Add in some peanut butter, mix it into your oatmeal. Add in some seeds or some nuts, like any of those kinds of things will help your body take longer to process that food and kind of like give you those nutrients over a longer period of time. And you won't feel like that crash where it's like 10:30 or 11 and you're like, oh God, I guess I am tired today. So that's like something beneficial. And then I would say at night, we hear this again with like, oh, I'm not hungry throughout the day, or I work out in the evening. And then when it comes to dinner time, I just like, I'm not hungry and I want to eat at like 8 or 9, but then I'm trying not to eat because I know I'm going to go to bed. So first of all, go back to that first part of the pyramid where we said it's energy intake overall. So just because you eat later, that doesn't mean that you gain weight. That like became a whole thing. That's very not true. If your body overall intake needs it, your body is going to use it. Now, I will say that back to like the habits and whatnot, I've said this before, but what we eat at like 10 p.m. is very different than what we would eat at 10 a.m. because there's just a lot of different things that happen in our behavior that we are just like, I'm just done. I need a reward for getting through the day. Just kind of my inhibitions are down. I'm tired. So you might eat like an entire bowl of pasta versus what your body like really needs. Those kind of come into play. But overall, eating what your body needs in the evening is not terrible. Then it can affect your sleep. It can affect different things. So to each person, that's kind of like a different story. But if you can generally then have your meals earlier rather than later, if the timing allows for it, that's going to benefit you. And by no means, just because you ate at night, does this mean that you're going to like gain weight. So that's just one of those things to kind of remember. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just letting you go.
Should I even get them for this one?
What's that? Alcohol?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course.
Alcohol. Nutrient timing with alcohol.
My favorite is
Brad Paisley song.
We have a ton of people that we've not met, but like have asked us over the years, you know, what should I do about this? And I have my diet, and how do I lose these last 10 pounds? And should I try this crazy diet? Or I think it's some off the wall, you know, gluten gut issue or something. And yet you hammer down like 6 bottles of wine a week. You know, and it's like, you don't got to reinvent the wheel here. You just got to look at the obvious. And I think sometimes going back to habits and behaviors is people just don't want to, they would rather have some sort of another answer that isn't as hard as the one that is being presented to them. Right. Mm-hmm. So the hard thing is like, well, what do you have to do? You have to cut out the alcohol dramatically in your life, and you have to run more outside, and you will obtain the health and body that you want. But that's a hard answer, and that sucks. And guess what? You have to do it for forever. It's not like you get 10 miles in and you call it good. Mm-hmm. So finding moderation is, of course, important, but trying to find all these fancy things or this fancy solution to a simple problem, which is just, you know, clean up your diet and face the reality of, it's probably just all the wine I'm drinking or the beer I'm drinking or my craft IPAs, which account for like 500 calories per 12 ounces. And you got like 6 of them at one time. What do you think's going to happen?
You just laid it on thick.
So anyway, she'll tell you the science behind that now. It.
Well, so I guess.
I mean, it's the truth though, right?
It's the absolute truth.
My favorite is like,
the truth.
I'm keto, and then you're chilling with like a Coors Light or something. And it's like,
well, they're keto when it comes to
no,
the
you're not.
cheeseburger.
It's like ketosis. Yeah.
So in terms of alcohol, there's like a whole like metabolism kind of entire thing that goes on. The important thing that happens with, and I'm talking about like, we're not like blacking out here. We're just talking about like general alcohol. Alcohol comes into our system and our body sees it as a toxin, and it kind of gets to jump the line of anything else that's happening. Our body's like that and goes over and digests the alcohol, and that gets rid of it in our body. So it can jump the line then of any of the protein that you just ate, any of the fat that you just ate, any of the carbohydrates you just ate. Alcohol gets a fast pass. Is that what
cuts in
Disneyland?
line? Yeah,
Disneyland?
fast pass.
It's a fast pass
destroying your health
to getting broken down. Now, alcohol doesn't have any nutrients in it per se that are helpful to our body. Don't argue on carbohydrates, but yes, it has no nutrient benefit to us. But it does have calories. That's why we call it empty calories. So you will, once your body needs, maybe you need 200 calories or whatever your body needs at that very given moment. If your body breaks down the alcohol first, because it jumped the line, and it breaks down 200 calories. Now, everything else that you've had after that your body doesn't need in terms of calories, that's getting stored as fat. So any protein we had that's extra, because again, base of the pyramid being energy in, any of that's being stored as fat. Any of the carbs, the fat that we don't need, because alcohol just became number one, that'll get stored as excess fat. That's generally, I'd say, like the beer belly, like around the abdominal area. That's how that goes. So
wait, there's no nutrient value in drinking my alcohol and then dipping flaming hot Cheetos into cream cheese?
No, or drinking your alcohol and chasing it with a protein shake. You might as well be doing the same. You might as well be doing the same thing.
It's not the beer; it's the flaming hot Cheetos afterward.
So, wouldn't that be a thing? But like, are flaming hot Cheetos still a thing?
I mean, we haven't had them.
That's disgusting. Alcohol also lowers your HGH, your human growth hormone, which is also like very not beneficial if we're talking about, we've just done a strenuous workout. So this leads to beer 30. It's not a great time to drink alcohol.
Or maybe it's the best time if you want to catch a cheap buzz.
It's like how Planet Fitness has like pizza days. You know, it's the same idea. It's like you're not like undoing.
Well, you don't get like a buzz off of a pizza.
Yeah, but like you're not undoing your work, but like you're undoing your work. You know, like you got to keep coming to the gym to see benefits if you're gonna keep eating pizza or drinking beer at the gym.
Yeah,
but
drinking alcohol right after your workout slows down your recovery significantly.
So
speeds up your buzz significantly as well too.
And your dehydration significantly as well. But so if you can wait an hour or like even better 6 hours. So that being said, if you're gonna go ham on a Saturday night, you can go to 8, 9, or 10 a.m. at CFL, and then be better off because all of those processes kind of have slowed down by the 6 hour mark, but at least like 1 hour if you can, if we're talking terms of like, your performance, your recovery being number one to you. Those are not always number one, and that's totally fine. But, and on a good note, there is a very much a benefit of having, we're talking like 1 to 2 beers is very different than having like 4 to 5 beers. So it's not like kind of like you have a little bit of alcohol and like poof, all your work out the window. You have a little bit of alcohol. We're going to be okay. We have more alcohol than that. And that like becomes a different thing. But every kind of little bit you add more to it makes it like worse, I'd say. So that being said, if you only have 1 or 2, it's like not detrimental. It's going to be okay. But I also was reading, they said who's
they?
Well, I don't have it like cited here as this is in
conspiracy theory.
Purple handwriting.
Perfect. Now I really come into play.
I can look it up. That those who are, it was some. Okay, now I'm like,
sorry,
you can't say that to someone who like has to literally cite everything I do. So that's
apparently not here.
I'm not gonna say it anymore.
Oh,
just kidding. I'm gonna say it. Those who that drink alcohol, like this is more like all throughout the week too. But those who drink alcohol throughout the week are twice as likely to get injured. And it was specifically when they're at CrossFit. So it's just
so many CrossFitters drink.
There was a whole thing about that
we
too.
We have a ton of data on drinking CrossFitters, and it turns out.
But that they're more likely to get injured. But that does make sense because we're just talking alcohol in general, possibly like affects your sleep, possibly affects we know that it affects your recovery, but it affects your like ability for your muscles to come back together stronger like they were. And we're constantly like trying as hard as we can to like break them down to build them up. So if we're breaking them down and we're working really hard at that, and then we're not doing what we need to do to build them back up, that's like a recipe for injury. So just kind of realizing those things.
Do we want to, we did have 2 questions that were on the Instagram, and then should we open this to questions? Are you through with that part there?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So that was anything on nutrient timing. So we're going to just open this up to questions as we wrap this thing up. So questions that you guys have, throw them in there. We're going to start with the 2 that were on YouTube Instagram, because we already have those now. Okay, we got pre-workout foods for vegetarians with a little cool emoji, glass emoji.
Same kind of thing. So
Leafs
would be good. And then it's kind of like dependent throughout the time of day too, which is like kind of one of those like generalized questions, but higher carbs will give you that like little energy boost that you need. And then like a little bit of protein. So depending on kind of like where your sources are from, but even like any kind of fruit, any kind of, I'm trying to think of like what the people on here might have
I was going
asked,
to say, I think you really already answered that, because if you just have a whey protein shake with some sort of banana or some sort of fruit.
For vegetarians.
Oh,
that's a milk protein.
Okay, well, like a pea protein or something, right?
Like after.
So yeah,
or that you go home and kind of like have a meal that's planned
before. Okay. Nutrition.
Or even like rice and beans would be good.
Nutrition prior to cardio that lasts less than an hour.
So when
if this isn't relatable to anyone else, don't matter. Okay.
No. So cardio, that's actually like a really good point, because I feel like a lot of times people hear like athlete kind of nutrition and they're like, I'm an athlete, I need to do that. And like most of us are not the athletes that those things are targeting. So we are regular humans that exercise and we want to get better at exercise. Now, when we're talking about solely our performance and that jumps other things, then kind of our nutrition goes in a different direction. But for some things you read about like aerobic, or like when you go on a run and you need to do these things, unless you're running like over, I'd say like 75 or 90 minutes at a time, training for like a half marathon, you don't need to worry so much about replenishing the stores that are in your muscle. That's called your glycogen. You don't really need to worry about that because you're not burning through enough of the stores in your body to get to there. When we're talking about running for over an hour, then the glycogen, the way that carbohydrates are stored in our body, that does become a thing to replenish. So post-workout then.
If I'm running over an hour, should I be adding nutrition during?
Yes and no. So that's kind of another thing. If you're running for over an hour, maybe. But I'm assuming that this question is we're running for over an hour, but we're training to run for over 3 hours. So then that becomes a different story. But having some of that replenishment coming in at like the 40-minute mark. So like they have like the gels and those kinds of things. That does come into play for sure during that. But that's just important to say for in the general, if you're going out for like anywhere up to a 5-mile run, even like 6-mile run, you don't need to worry about taking anything in other than water if you guys get thirsty. But you don't need to worry about all the crazy gels and those kinds of things until you're talking about training over that, because then our body is kind of like activating a different system. So I hope that kind of answers that. Jen's the only one who's like running that crazy far right now, and I'll talk about that. It's just I feel like we
kind of went in a circle there.
Even in like I was reading like women's health and stuff the other day, and they were trying to say that like if you go for a run, like you need these goos and like whatever, and you're like, no,
that's because, and I think too,
you don't.
To that point, I think too, you always have to be careful where you're getting your source, because magazines have an ulterior motive. They're trying to sell you a product. They just sold some ad space. They need to get ROI on that, so that way people keep buying advertisements out of their magazine. So just be skeptical as to where where that information is being presented to you. If it's being presented by somebody with experience, somebody that is already doing what you're doing, and it's just a product that they're using or fond of, that's one thing. But finding it out a sponsored Instagram ad or a magazine usually tends to just be a product.
That's totally true.
Okay, so Ashley asks, what are sugar alcohols? What's your opinion on them? Are they legal?
So you see sugar alcohols on things that don't have, like you see added sugar, and then sometimes you see sugar alcohols, and they're calorie free, and our body kind of, they're sweet to us, but we need like very much less of them, as you guys could tell. If you have any kind of, they're kind of like artificial sweeteners is like kind of how you can just think about them. They're not super great for us. They don't necessarily, depends on like which ones we're talking about, but whatnot, but they don't break down and add towards like any kind of calories in that kind of a way. But for what kind of stuff we're going for at the challenge, we're using them to sweeten things. And right now, in general, as we can tell from people who love sugar and have sugar headaches, we reach for sweet things literally all the time. So if we are just taking the sweet thing, it's like the same thing as like replacing Coke with Diet Coke. Like, yes, it's better, but like, is it better? So replacing Coke with water, obviously like way, way better. But sugar alcohols in the different types of sweeteners are ways that scientists have figured out how to make us feel like we're eating sweet things, but not have the calorie energy consumption of sweet things. Some of the teams I was talking about, like stevia and monk fruit sweetener, which are like the newer branded kind of like sweeteners. So they've been extracted from like stevia is from like a leaf of a plant. And then same with monk fruit. So it's kind of like the newer age kind of sweetener, and they're not quite as bad for our body and the processes that our bodies go through and our hormone response to it. But for what we're trying to achieve with the challenge is more of a behavioral change as well as the sugars. So then for the challenge, we're trying to also avoid them, I'd say, when we can.
Yeah. I would say too, like, what is the purpose of them, that intent you're trying to fill? So is it trying to get around, like, is it just in something else that you want to use, like a supplement or something of that sort? Or is it because you're trying to buy like a donut that's made of it or something,
No, totally. Because sometimes like they exist in a lot of like protein bars, and it's really hard to find protein bars that don't have any in them at all, because no one's going to buy a protein bar that doesn't have them, because they're going to taste like crap. But if we can limit it to like 2 grams, 3 grams in there, like significantly better. And we're not eating the protein bar as like a treat, like necessarily. We're using that obviously for like other nutrient benefits. So it's not the end of the world. It's just, they're not the most fantastic thing for us.
Yeah. And then I would say for like longevity purposes, obviously not,
but they don't spike your blood
So
glucose
admittedly,
or
she
your
said
blood sugar,
definitely
so
doing
that
it
is
to suppress my dessert cravings.
Yeah.
I would say too.
Try to suppress your dessert cravings. Just
I would say too, like for longevity purposes afterwards, I would almost say going to like a baked good or some sort of sweet that's made with better ingredients. You know you're gonna have sugar and what have you, but doing that for your sweet tooth thing later on, once or twice a week, would be more beneficial than eating a bunch of stuff that has alcohol sugars in it because you're saying that it's healthier.
Right, because then we trick ourselves into being like,
and then you end up eating more of it anyways.
But you will realize how much other things are sweet once you get away from sugar because your body reacts to things like almonds. Like, have you guys had almonds yet? Like, you realize, like, oh my God, I had no idea these were as sweet as they were. And then finding other things like fruits or those kinds of things, because when you're eating fruit, then you're getting vitamins, minerals, you're getting fiber, you're getting a bunch of other stuff. So like, sure, there's like sugar in them, but like you're getting a bunch of other things at the same time. So like a better benefit than I'd say.
Jenna had another question here. If the nutritional label lists sugar in the ingredients, but then it says 0 grams of sugar, I saw that on Oat Milk Thoughts.
They said it in the ingredients, but it said 0 grams. There's like literally 100 million terms for sugar in the ingredients, but like literally if it says sugar, then yes, it's been added at some point. They might have added like such minimal amounts, and then depending on kind of how the whole process of, that's surprising on oat milk to say 0 grams, but because oat milk's literally just like soaked from but then we'll go off the nutrition facts because there's such minimal amounts that it's like not a big deal. Sometimes I'd say it's then general rule of thumb, better to go off a nutrition label than it is to go off of
the package or
the ingredients, because they have like 100 like code words for sugar, and it's like impossible to possibly know how many they have or what it is. So like if you just read and it says 0 grams and look for added sugar or 0 grams total sugar, then generally you're going to be okay.
Yeah. And I would say this isn't particularly the question that you had, Jen, but I would say a lot of times the food industry uses marketing tricks to make it sound more appealing, sound more healthy, or try to kind of minimize the effect of the sugar that's in there. We see this all the time with like 0 sugar or diet or low fat or low sugar or made with organic sweeteners or different things like that. But all those is marketing tricks to make you believe that the product's a little bit healthier, even though it all breaks down and does the same thing in our bodies.
Yeah, we said this last year. There's like certain terms that we can go over too that are like that they have to be like FDA approved. Like low calorie has to be like a certain percentage kind of low. But basically, unless you like really, I don't even know what those are off the top of my head, and I like literally study this stuff. So they
besides all our sources, no sources.
They have
literally
teams
studies it, doesn't have information.
Marketing. They have marketing teams that their entire job is to make you buy that brand over something else. So they know we want to be like eating healthy when we're reaching for like the whole wheat bread. But why would I reach for this whole wheat bread other than that whole wheat bread, other than it's on sale? And they have millions of dollars behind those things to try to make you choose one product over the other. And then especially when we're talking about foods that we think are healthy for us. So just kind of be aware of that. Don't look at packaging. Don't look at anything. Just look at the ingredients and the nutrition, because that's
and I would expect over the next year or so, you're going to see more and more products do that from a lot of major food companies that exist right now, because the trend will continue to move towards healthier foods, especially in the wake of the coronavirus and what have you. People are going to be they're going to be more aware about what they're eating, and the food companies are going to know this, so they're going to position themselves that way, but it'll still be processed and made the same way. So don't let them fool you. Lynette's question, now that we have white rice, can we have Mexican rice?
No.
¿Por qué?
Because it's usually cooked with a ton
¿Qué
of
está
butter.
la diferencia?
It's
Somos
cooked with
iguales, ¿no?
Butter and a bunch of,
in case any guys speak Spanish.
Spices, we're worried about that. But
yeah, well, that's what I was going to say, because the thing with the white rice versus the brown rice in the prior years was just to get you to move towards an alternative, right? Wasn't that kind of your goal?
People will go, ham on white rice. People will eat a bowl of white rice with like 2 pieces of chicken on it. They do not do the same with brown rice.
Yeah. And so I think the point being here with the white rice versus the brown rice was trying to keep consumption a little bit lower, but then not being too aware of it this time. But the difference between the white rice and the Mexican rice, or like a rice-a-roni or something like that, is the way that it's prepared. So if it's made with a bunch of spices or butters or oils,
just the amount of like butter that you have to make it, like that's why Mexican rice tastes so good.
But if you probably made a homemade version of the Mexican rice, you could probably get some ingredients on the goods list. And
I mean, I've only ever heard of Mexican. I don't cook a lot of Mexican food, so if Mexican food is made or Mexican rice is made with things other than just a lot of butter, unnecessary butter.
All right. So watch your butter consumption.
Have corn tortillas.
Okay. The other question went on from the Instagram, you kind of already answered on here, which was like the timing of like when's a right time to eat the fats, which you already kind of discussed that.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So like if you're an 8 a.m. workouter.
She's in the middle of the day or the afternoon because it's Chloe. We know exactly who it is.
Well,
so she would either be eating her fats in the evening time after
in the evening
her workout,
time. Yeah. So any of your like oils with your food or your avocado, or kind of depending on like what you're cooking with to make your dinner. And then in the morning, having like full eggs, not going for egg whites, like eggs, avocado, all those kinds of things. Those are great, kind of just away from it. And it's not like it's the end of the world. Fats are phenomenal things for us. It's just if we're talking about trying to recover quickly and get the protein to go into our body faster, we want to have fats away from our workout if we can.
So speaking of the fats, Susie, another question. Can you explain more on saturated fats in various other oils?
Well,
like
yes, I can, because
oil?
fats come up next week. So that's the macronutrient we're hitting up next week. And then it'll go fats, and then it goes carbohydrates, which leads us into sugars. So that's kind of absolutely we will, just holding it. Yeah, for now.
Okay. So that'll be our kickoff
because you guys
question.
Don't really want to listen to us that long, right?
That'll be our kickoff question to the start of next week, where I think the plan is I'm going to outline next week, and then we won't have the start that we did from before. Because, when we have direction and we know where we're going, it's a little bit easier.
It's Matt's world. We just live in it, you guys. Some of us had direction. We were fine.
You had direction?
Yeah.
I didn't know. Well,
they're literally
maybe Grace will share her notes with us.
Rectangles.
I know you crushed it. I'm talking about like a show outline.
I didn't know we needed a show outline.
I need a show outline.
Well, it sounds like we should talk to the producers.
I am the weakest link. Okay, so I think that about wraps it up. So Susie, awesome question. We're going to dive more into that next week. If there's anything you need on that specifically, obviously you could hit her up and she could tell you the differences of the foods. We talked a little bit about atomic habits. We went over the workouts. We went over some questions, nutrient timing. I think that's going to bring us to the end. Anything else you want to say?
The challenge workout for the rest of the week will come out in your email tonight.
And if you guys haven't already, smash that like button. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah. And most
of
a different
term than smash. That's just like so.
Destroy, obliterate, press, click, please. Anyhow, thanks for joining, guys. Just no.
Happy Valentine's Day. Don't forget it's Valentine's Day, boys. You still have time.
About it. I'm Parker. Yeah, thank you so much for watching and joining in, guys. Sorry, I was like, I'm just drained. It was a long week.
Yeah?
I was tired. Didn't have energy. Okay.
I have energy. I have it. I carried it. Don't worry.
You were the backbone of the show.
You're the producer of the show. We need you here.
I kind of flexed when you touched my arm. I think it's like
you got to get rid of that.
It's like a natural like guy thing. No, just because that's.
I can't say that anyone's ever grabbed my arm and I've flexed.
Such a dork. All right. Anything else you want to add?
Nothing. Just probably let them go. We love you guys.
We're going to bring in our commercial. Okay, bye. We're leaving this time.
Get rid of it. Get rid of it. I'm just leaving.
Okay, bye. We had another comment. You're welcome, Nicola.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
At Valentine's Day, we're going to healthy dinner. That was very cute.
Babe,
okay.
Come on.
Go ahead. I'm going to take the show over myself. Welcome to the after party with Matt. What if I have any classes? Okay. Don't click it. All right, we're out. And we're back.
Notes.